Welcome back to Unfolded, the HARVEY Maps Podcast. On today's episode, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Steve Burry from Dennis Maps. He's come all the way to Scotland from Somerset. Steve, welcome.
Hi Adam, thanks for seeing you.
Thanks very much for coming on this way.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Good. We've how long have we known each other now? When did you start?
Since 2018, I think. So that'll be 8 years. This year.
8 years, dealt with the pandemic, all the bits in between. And you obviously work very closely with my colleague Chris and his team. Steve, just tell everyone what it is you do at Dennis Maps and what Dennis Maps does.
So I'm the managing director of Dennis Maps. I've led the business since its founding in 2014, and Dennis Maps is very much a specialised map printer. So we primarily print maps and charts, some occasional other large format work, but our real focus is on maps and charts.
And that's how we got to know you, obviously, given what we do. And we visited your premises. It's
Indeed,
a vast site, as I remember, lots of really high technical machines, and I don't know how you give a flavour of that sort of site to people listening. So I guess people love maps. They'd be really interested to know, how does it go from the cartographic process to becoming that piece of paper?
Yeah. So I guess start at the basic end. So we're based in a small market town called Frome in Somerset.
Very nice place, been there.
It is, in the southwest of England. We continue a sort of long heritage of printing in the town, going back to sort of mid 19th century, and there's always been, quirkily enough, a history of large format printing in the town. So
right in Frome,
just the way that history has rolled the dice, really. And large format printing, in simple terms, means printing onto large sheets of paper, essential for certainly at least a good number of HARVEY Maps products and others. So when you see our factory from the outside, it doesn't look that big, but I always say to anyone who visits, it's a little bit like the TARDIS. When you're inside, it just appears so much bigger than it might appear on the outside. And that's really as a result of large format printing. Everything is large. It just has to be. It
needs the space. It needs the kit.
So it needs a fairly big footprint.
So how long have you been on that current site? Is that
since the summer of 2014?
Oh, right. And so has the company kind of just grown? Or
it's grown over that time. Not massively, but we have grown steadily year on year. I think the fact that we are so specialist means that because we focus on what we do, I guess there's a limit to the growth within the UK market of map publishers. But it's also our greatest strength as well, in that we are so specialist that we're not sort of subject to maybe the general headwinds of commercial print generally, which is a pretty tough place to be.
Yeah, the map production is fairly niche, as we can absolutely testify to here. But and so your background then, Steve, where is this something you've always been involved in, printing? Or
yes, printing. I've been involved in printing all of my working career. So in September that will be crikey, that'll be 42 years in September. So yes, quite a long time. And yes, printing is all I've ever done, all I've known, really. So I think safe to say it's well and truly in my blood now.
Has it always been maps, or has it been you've come through various forms?
No. So I've worked for various printing companies
Yeah.
in Frome that have always been involved in large format printing. Been through several incarnations of that. Right. So most of my career was spent in book printing, and particularly colour book printing. And then from 2010, involved in map printing.
Excellent. Yeah, so you're certainly the man to come to. Any printing questions we've got, and this is what we're here to discuss.
Yes, absolutely.
How big is the team at Dennis Maps?
Yeah, we're a fairly small, tight-knit team of around 25, 26 people. Which is a nice size. It's big enough to have the resource to do what we need to do, but it's also small enough that it's still got that family type business feel to it, and everybody knows each other for good or ill sometimes. But and it just means that the culture of the business is very much that family feel.
It's quite a responsibility then to be printing the maps that a lot of people know and love, I would have thought.
Do
you feel that? Does the team sort of feel that responsibility of you're creating these products?
Yes.
I include our products as well, but all maps. But people come up to me all the time and they treasure their products, they treasure their maps. And I know the guys here, they love creating the actual finished article, and they have a real sense of someone's going to use that. I imagine it translates as well in the team of your size.
Yeah, very much.
Feeling,
very much so. And I think everyone takes a great deal of pride in what they do, the work that they produce, and the knowledge that those products will be used by many different users in many different situations, and occasionally it may be a life-saving situation too, either directly or indirectly. So yes, it's a responsibility that everyone takes very seriously.
We definitely carry that on here as well, and take it very seriously. But the HARVEY Maps, then obviously we print on it's a material called polyart.
It is.
It's a waterproof material. I heard a few stories from your colleague Roger about how when we first started working together, the guys were struggling a bit maybe to work with that. Can you tell people what that was like? How does it differ to, say, printing all of the OS paper sheets?
Yes. So polyart, as you say, is a waterproof material, and it's a synthetic material. So it's a thin plastic film inner with a china clay coating on both sides, and that's what gives it its paper-like feel, but also its waterproof characteristics and its real durability. So one of the issues around printing on polyart is that is static electricity build-up. So the sheets tend to cling together a little bit, and also the humidity that you're actually working in is also a major factor. So you need to operate at quite a high humidity level, and also have technology in your printing and finishing equipment that removes that static electricity. So
it's quite a process.
It is, yes. Which if in 2018, when we first started, we didn't have that experience, that necessary equipment maybe. So making the transition from printing on paper to polyart was quite a...
Was HARVEY Maps one of your first customers?
It was the first. You were the first, yes.
Pioneers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute pioneers. Yes. That's what we're all about. But, I know you've worked really closely with Chris.
Yes.
To get the final products printed correctly. And I remember speaking to your colleague Roger about the humidity. You're adding
Yes.
water.
Yes, we are.
Process. Yeah, it was quite fascinating when we visited as well to see what had gone on, just to get the sheets right. But so, are there more? Do you have other customers printing on polymer? Because I know in Europe, when I go abroad, a lot of maps are printed on a waterproof, or some equivalent anyway. But is it other customers?
There are a few. It's not that common, I think. There are a few, but I think those that do use it, like yourselves, find that that gives you maybe a special place in the market, because
I think when Susan Harvey set the company up, that was always their aim, is to create, principally because we're interested in mapping mountains, places where rain falls, and it's tough conditions, and she was absolutely adamant that the map must be durable to get you up and back down. So it's worked really well for Harvey Maps. But what was it about the Harvey Maps then that you printed? Did the team kind of comment on them in any way, or was it an easy transition to make? I know we've spoken about a few technical but
well, I suppose the most obvious was the material, quite clearly. But then beyond that, obviously you have a very unique style of cartography, with its own unique colour palette as well. So it's getting a feel of what is right on that as well, which you can never assume anything on these things. So again, we had to work closely with Chris to determine, so what is the exact requirement, rather than our interpreting what we think you might want. It's much better
It's quite an interesting point, actually, that I've probably not considered too much, is from a Harvey map, we tend to show the moorland and open area with a white background, whereas Ordnance Survey, a lot of the access land has a pale orange, I think.
Pale yellow.
Yellow. And so the two essences of map styles are effectively reversed, or opposite. And I hadn't quite appreciated that might be a challenge when you're running a big sheet through that you're trying to keep consistent colour there.
So we do have what we call colour profiles for different materials, different customers, because the requirements are different. So one size doesn't necessarily always fit all. So and I think also on the finishing side of things, then the folding was quite different as well, especially on the Super Walker series.
Let's give you a challenge.
So again, very different to some of the other products that we produce. So again, it was really working closely with Chris to fully understand what the requirements were, what the tolerances were, and what were the important things to focus on. So.
I mean, I should say at this point, we've not said it already, but the quality of the maps that we get back from you is absolutely fantastic. It's always great to see. We send off a file, you guys do your bit, and what comes back actually is exactly how we envisage them to be. So, I mean, that's a key part of it. We spend months preparing these data files, so to have them come back and go straight out the door is brilliant. And there's a whole process, as you said, to get it to that point. But so a lot goes behind the scenes in making these maps, not just at our end, but at your end as well. But excuse me. What about other printed matter that you do? Is there another line of books or brochures or?
We do some large format posters. So and that can vary. So we have one client who specialises in printing sort of like vintage film posters. So maybe reproducing posters of Star Trek films in the 1970s or 80s, or
that big Jaws poster.
Jaws, exactly.
I love that.
Jaws, for example. And then we also do some more work that's perhaps more point of sale, so like special Easter offer or whatever it might be, or and also shelf strips that go into like shelves of so again like Mother's Day or whatever it might be. So that's some of the I guess other work that we do occasionally do, but as I say, our main focus is on maps.
And is there anything? So, talking a bit about the kind of the complex process printing the map. Is there? And you must speak to people all the time about how maps themselves are printed. Is there anything you would say people overlook in the process that they forget about or take for granted, maybe?
I mean, I think, I guess preparation is the key. Certainly, if time is taken to work on the print files to ensure that they're exactly how you want them, then when we receive them, certainly for your team, we send a physical proof back,
always like to have
so that you can check that there's no issues with colour or content or some things isn't quite as it should be, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a error in the print file. Sometimes through our processing of that print file, sometimes a glitch can occur. Not very often, but it can. So a final sign off is always a good, especially on a really complex map.
We've always appreciated that because I think, as I've said said earlier and on other episodes of the podcast, it takes us so long to prepare a map of export or something that we printed with yourselves, and it's only when you can print off as many proofs as you like, but for some reason it's only when you get that file back from Dennis Maps and you look at it and you go, like, that doesn't look right. We need to change that. So for us, it's a really beneficial step in the process. It's that when you spend so long staring at something, you can miss things. But
absolutely. And I think we have in our pre-press department, so that's the stage before printing, we have some special software that we can run the print files through, which will highlight any potential issues for us, not necessarily in content, because the software doesn't know whether the content is right or whether it's not, but in terms of how the files are created. So that's a very good way for us to ensure that the printed result matches expectations. And it's always much better to do, if you like, that hard work upstream before you actually then start to print, because once you get to that point, then there's less room to manoeuvre.
It's actually a point of no return.
It is to a degree. Once you're off in a way, then it's I'm
trying to think whether we've had any major calamitous moments like that. I'm sure there's been one over the years. I can't remember any where we've said please print, and afterwards we've gone, what have we done?
I can't recall.
I can't.
Either,
which means the process is working.
Absolutely,
somewhere.
yes. I think between us we've got it.
Exactly.
We've got it in a good place.
Please keep that going for us. Just not just when you see the issues, but I was going to ask then about the team you've got as well. So is there? I mean, and you've worked in printing coming up for 42 years, if I remember that right.
Absolutely,
so
yes.
What would you say the kind of key attribute or key skills, or is there a personality trait that someone needs to have to work in printing? Or
I think good attention to detail is essential, especially in map production, where you are talking very precise requirements, whether that's printing or finishing, and probably to a degree that in general commercial printing wouldn't be even considered, I would say. So good trait is that attention to detail. The ability to think on your feet and problem solve is also good.
I think it's the same here. Being able to see the detail and focus on the detail and see around the detail. It's actually underestimated in how much that's needed, I think. So it's very. I find it interesting with the whole process of making the map, right from the team doing the photogrammetric process to the cartographers to the team printing it. It requires almost the exact same attributes to the person. But so, excuse me, Steve. I was going to say the industry, the kind of wider industry, you've been involved in printing maps for a while, as you said. How is it? Can you summarise how it's changed over the years, or?
Yeah, I think over the years, I think it's no secret that printed maps have reduced in their overall volumes requirements. But what we've seen as a result of that is that the demand is out there still. But I think publishers like ourselves are thinking of different ways to bring those printed map products to market. So maybe a lot more focused on what customers might want and wish and need, rather than the assumption of this is what you need.
Here it
is.
Yeah, use it. I think it's really true, and we're quite fortunate in our position. I think that we've got good customers who constantly come back to us and ask us, have you got a map for this? Have you got a map for that? Have you got a map for this? So you're right, the need and the demand is there. You've got to find that right way of presenting it to them. In terms of the causes for the slowing of printed maps, is that, do you see many obvious reasons for that, or?
I think it's the changing, I suppose the changing world, the technology. So much now. Digital mapping is freely available on our mobiles. We carry a map in our pocket with us, and that we all use them. They're great. Certainly for navigation in towns or cities, then very helpful.
And I think for HARVEY Maps and the areas that we're interested in, our customers tell us they still like printed map because they're going to go up a mountain. They're going to go on a 12-day hike and batteries and so on, and all sorts of range reception and signal. But yes, maybe in more urban areas, it's you don't need your printed map. Well, you need it less. So that's probably reflected in the volumes, I would have thought, that we're doing, that you're doing, and so on. But,
and I certainly we've seen that over the time. I wouldn't say the complete death of road atlases or road maps, etc. But they've certainly reduced because we're all now so dependent on satellite navigation.
Do you still have a road atlas in your car?
I don't.
I do. I get told off all the time by my partners. Told you don't need that. You don't need that. Usually for us, I like it. Anyway, so have you just going back to the industry then? How has Dennis Maps adapted, or how might it plan to adapt to changes?
I think over time. I mean, I don't. In the immediately foreseeable future, see a situation where there's no demand for a printed map product. I just don't see that. But I think what the product looks like and how it's brought to market, that's where I think the changes will take place, and I think are already taking place. So I think maybe it's a scenario of printing less volume to then hold in stock, to then hope that they sell.
So
I can see it becomes
becomes a little
bit shorter, and maybe not truly on demand, because I don't think the technology is quite there to do that yet. But certainly closer to demand, so more reactive, lower numbers, digital print technology for the products that we produce, the products that you publish isn't there yet.
We've badgered you a few times.
To enable us to do that, which would really get the whole process much closer to demand. But I think over time, I'm sure that will occur.
Yeah, and I mean, just having a quick mention of the digital mapping. I mean, for people that perhaps don't know, all of our maps are done in a litho printed process, which obviously takes long setup times, and a lot goes into it. Whereas the digital is a button press and it spits out litho. But and what we've been interested in is the double-sided printing of that. But I think that's the bit that's holding up the industry.
That's the issue really. That is a size that's now not a problem. So size is doable. Double-sided with accurate registration from one side to the other. That's the problem. Yeah.
Someone will solve it at some point.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And so and then you've touched on it a little bit already, but the future of printed mapping is how do you see that going, Steve? As you say, the immediate future. You've said you don't see a change, but the long-term future.
Yeah, I mean, I think longer term, then I think it really the direction of travel is much more to that print on demand type model where. I suppose that the risk from a publisher is then reduced because you're not having to try and estimate how many should we print, and hopefully we'll sell them over a period of time, where it can become much more reactive, where it literally we think we can sell 50 copies of this, and then that's what is ordered, and from that commercial aspect, the numbers will work out to be able to do that, which in the current production model, litho printing doesn't really enable those small quantities at a sensible price point. So I think that's how I would see. I don't see printed maps disappearing, but I think the way that they're produced and then brought to market would evolve. I think has got to evolve over time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I remember going back to when the first Kindle came out and everyone said death of the paperback or something. And as far as I can see, paperbacks are still
selling. In fact, having something of a resurgence. In fact, so I think there is still a. I wouldn't say we've come full circle, but I think having all embraced digital technology, there is still something, and maybe I'm talking of a man of a certain age and I'm maybe irrelevant to the modern world, I don't know, but of having something tangible, be it a book, be it a map,
or a vinyl record.
That people still do like that physical connection with something.
We could go on probably for hours, but we won't. So we've got a few kind of rapid fire questions.
Right, I'll prepare myself.
Here we go. I don't know how rapid they are, but I'll be as quick as I can. What's you might not be able to say, but what's the most unique or outrageous printing request you've had at Dennis Maps? Does anything come to mind?
We did have a client once who wanted to print a map in 6 special inks, whereas normally it's 4 straightforward inks, blue, red, black and yellow. This was 6 special colours, and the print files that were supplied to us were so massive, I think it took us 2 days to actually be able to download and process and then try and print. So that was something that was quite unique, I think.
Sounds pretty challenging.
What
were the other 2 colours?
No, even the base colours weren't there, so it was 6.
Oh, I see.
It was all
gold or something.
It was all very strange. Yeah,
I'm sure the team loved that one.
Yes.
Any quick advice on how you should store your folded polyart map? Is there anything that people need to know?
Well, I think polyart maps are quite forgiving in a way compared to paper, in that they do refold, especially the Harvey's maps. The Super Walkers, for example, do refold quite nicely along the fold lines, whereas a larger sheet can be quite a bit more challenging. And if you have retained the sleeve that you bought it in, then pop it back in the sleeve, because that will just keep it in the best possible conditions.
I should say, when we go to events, Steve, we like the Outdoor Expo Birmingham, we've got a copy of I'm sure it's a Pennine Way North map, something you've printed for us, and we had a tug of war with it once. And we had people were so interested in the durability and toughness, and we said, "Come on, just have a tug of war." And we've used it for a good few years now. The same map comes out at every show. It's got a few crinkles on it now because it's been literally done, but it folds beautifully. The colours still are absolutely fine, and it's not stretched. It's not folded up, on you go. So we're absolutely delighted with that. So when we first did it,
testament to the product.
Well, yeah. We were a bit concerned at first when these two strapping lads took it out and said, "I want to go at that," and we thought, "Oh God," but no, it stood to the test of time and everything. Any behind the scenes stories from printing any of our maps, and anything you're willing to share?
Oh, well, I think, I think if we look back to the very beginning, and yes, it was challenging from the printing perspective, and also the largest Super Walker maps are challenging from a folding perspective.
They are quite long.
Yeah, they are quite long. So for us, that was really understanding and producing something that we'd never produced before. So, and I guess that's one of the other attributes you need in doing what we're doing is an open-mindedness to try something different, because we do produce products that are not uniform. We're not producing the same thing every day. So you need to have an ability to accept these new challenges.
And I think that links to what we were just saying about the future of people putting out rather more specific products because they know there's a specific need, and Dennis Maps are being able to go, "Do you know what? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, just tweak that. There's your product," and then rather than just the same stuff over and over. Yeah. Final question, Steve. I'll put you on the spot. What's your favourite map?
Favourite map. Am I allowed to?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. So one of my favourite maps is published by British Antarctic Survey.
Oh yes.
And that is the map of South Georgia and the Shackleton crossing.
Yeah.
So I found that a fascinating map.
Is that a recently printed map?
I think it was first produced actually in 2018.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what it's actually mapping is a part of the world that is pretty remote, and not many people know anything about it. And then on the reverse, it tells a story and shows the route of Shackleton's route across South Georgia. So I've always found that as just something that's very so different. And the other one is possibly even more different. So this is from a client of ours, and he's produced a map called London Flipped.
Oh right. I don't know this.
So it's a map of London, and it's printed with some fluorescent inks as well. So it gives it a really interesting appearance. And it's the city of London reversed north to south. Yeah. So south is now north, north is now south. So London flipped. And when you look at it, then we're all familiar with the layout of London, but suddenly nothing is where it's supposed to be. So you're sort of drawn in because things are not where they should be. So again, I thought that was just something that was really interesting concept and way to approach. Again, for navigation, obviously not, but as a interesting concept and something really different to bring to the market, I thought that was really very good.
It says a lot about how maps have an impact visually, and people can enjoy them whether you're actually using them on a map, whether you just want to unfold them on a table or talk with your mates in the pub and plan your next route, or your next challenge of flips London or
Yeah.
whatever it might
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
But I think that's the feedback we get as well.
Yeah.
Is that people love them as posters and presentation things.
For a variety of
Yeah.
different reasons.
Yeah. Steve, thanks very much for your time and your insights and so on.
Adam, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great to have you. Thanks very much again. If you've enjoyed the episode, do go and check out the other episodes that we've got, and also have a look at Dennis Maps' website. There's plenty more information on there.
There is. Yes.
All that remains to be say, Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Brilliant.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.